I remember standing on the I-4 connector and looking around this huge project, and I'm like, man, somebody is making money here. Somebody is making money here. It's just not us.
Welcome back to another great episode of the Winners Win podcast. It's kind of like an impromptu as well, right? So we're here in Scottsdale, Arizona at Gov Gold. And I was like, man, I need to just take advantage of this beautiful scenery because this right here, this is crazy. Like the mountains, the big American flag, like what are we doing? Like this is dope. So I got my man with me right now, Mr. Oliver Fernandez. First of all, thank you for coming to Scottsdale and blessing the room. It was amazing. Like I told him, I was excited to have you here to hear you speaking, and you blew me away. So thank you for that. I appreciate it.
100%, 100%.
How was it for you?
It was great. You know what I mean? Like I love that you said in the beginning, like, hey, you know, we Googled you, man. Like we looked you up. Like we had to do our due diligence, man. Like, you know, and that's the cool thing about the government contract space is that you can look at companies and see what they're really doing. Right. And I remember doing that in the beginning, too. And honestly, like when I saw those people, like I remember going to these events and I'd be like, oh, that's that lady that's doing $10 million a year. Yeah. And I used to get goosed up and like get excited because she was doing exactly what I wanted to do. Right. Yeah. And it wasn't like this thing where like oftentimes you get trapped in like the SBA and like you got these people that don't really know what to do and they're telling you what to do and it's like do I really believe what they're telling me to do? And then it's just like you're kind of like in this confused trap. So like coming here and being able to share something that I've been working on for the last 15 years with people who are interested in listening about it and wanting to do it, like that's always gold for me.
Oh, man, you did it. You killed it. Everybody's like, what? And I'm like, nah, that's what it's about. Cause like you doing it this long, to have the ability to be able to share our story and people are actually interested. I know sometimes for me, I feel like it's just my life. Like nobody cares about that. Nobody wants to hear my stories. Yeah. So it's always dope for me to see someone like you and hear your story. And like I said it before, like to be able to parallel, like, damn, I remember when I went through that. Yeah. Like, damn, boy, yep, I was there too. I remember that. Yeah. And then it makes me feel like, well, damn, maybe I'm not alone. Maybe I'm not crazy, right? So it's dope. Can you take us and just kind of give us the background brief story about you and like how you got into government contracting and just everything?
Yeah. So I remember when I was 2008, I was graduating from college and my dad gave me a call. He's like, hey son, I'm going out of business. Can I put this new business in your name? And I was like, and at the time we both shared the same name. He's Oliver Dan Fernandez Jr. I'm Oliver Dan Fernandez III. And, you know, I knew I had my three sisters and wanted my dad to still be able to help take care of them, right? So I was like, yeah, let's put the business in my name, but let's make money together, right? And, you know, I didn't really understand all of the things you sign up for when everything's in your name and it's your credit and all those things. So, you know, in the beginning, it started off slow where it's like we were getting like, you know, $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 job. And, you know, I had my little credit card from college, right? So I'd get, you know, I'd pay for the equipment rental on my credit card. We go out there and do the work. We then get paid, you know, we pay back the credit card and then pay the payroll and then, you know, kind of do it all over again, right? And then next thing you know, like we're getting bigger projects, you know, things are going okay, you know, it's like maybe there's a little bit of a balance left on my credit card, but we're starting to grow the business, right? But we were still a subcontractor at the time, so like we really didn't control our destiny in terms of like, you know, when we got paid and like we were constantly like, and this was 2008, 2009 at the time. So people were struggling to get work, right? So we were trying to find work and we were willing to do whatever it takes to get the work, right? So we were doing that, and I remember, you know, 2012-ish time frame, we landed this project up in basically working on the I-4 connector, which basically connects Orlando to Tampa. And it was a huge project, like $150 million project. And it wasn't our project. We got a little tiny piece of it. We were a subcontractor for the big contractor that had the big project. And we were doing like the underground piping underneath the roadway, right? And I remember the contractor gave us the contract and he's like, you guys start on this side. I'm gonna give another contractor that does the exact same work as you guys on this side. And then you guys will just meet in the middle. Whoever finishes the most gets the most work. So we were hustling. You know, we were getting like we were getting we were finishing our side, starting to work on their side. But like at the same time, like, you know, every time we'd go and submit our invoice, we'd be, you know, hustling all month long with payroll and equipment costs and fuel, and our team was staying out of town, so we had the hotels, and we were paying tens of thousands of dollars a month in this stuff. And then, you know, every time I went to go get paid, is like it was always an excuse or a reason why. You know, I remember this one time we had this $400,000 invoice that was due to us, right? And, you know, the contractor was asking for us to produce these like releases, which basically a release is something that you prove that once the money you've gotten paid, you've actually paid your vendors, right? So they wanted to, you know, we had a $400,000 invoice that was due to us. I was struggling to make payroll. We didn't have payroll for that Friday. I'm like, dude, we need this money. Like, please pay me this money. She's like, no, we're not paying you because you haven't given us a $2,000 release. And the company that was supposed to give us the release was on vacation, so there was no way I was getting the release, right? But I still had payroll to make, right? So I was like stressed out. I haven't found a way to talk to the owner, and he's like, yeah, man, I'll release the check to you. So I drove from Tampa all the way down to Miami, got the check, threw it in my account so I could make payroll. And we made payroll, and I was like, man, this is just so crazy. Like, this is not, you know, like I remember standing on the I-4 connector and looking around this huge project, and I'm like, man, somebody is making money here. Mm-hmm. Somebody is making money here. It's just not us, right? And then from that day forward, I was like, man, I'm out of this subcontract game. So my dad, you know, he didn't want to, you know, you didn't want to do the prime contract work that I wanted to do. So my dad went this way as a subcontractor. He took all the equipment, took all the manpower, and then I went this way. I took the $500,000 worth of debt that we were in. Like, I was 23 years old, $500,000 in the hole with no contracts. And I had to figure it out, right? And like, it literally felt like I was dropped off in the middle of Arizona on a back road. They pulled me out of a trunk. I was bleeding out of every orifice. They threw me on the ground, ready to die, man. And I had this little baby Mackenzie in my hand, and we had to figure it out. We had to stay alive, baby. We had to stay alive. And then, you know, luckily I found a mentor, and, you know, he was doing, you know, government contracts, and it was exactly what I was saying. I want to do work directly for the owner. He was doing work directly for the owner. He's telling me about the stuff that he was doing millions of dollars worth of projects, and he's getting paid in 14 days. I wanted to get paid in 14 days. Forget about this 90 days and every excuse in the book. Like, you do good work, pay me, right? So, you know, he basically was telling me about this stuff, but he said, hey, kid, I'm not giving you any of my projects, but if you go out there and find projects, I'll help you get them to the finish line. And that was exactly the confidence that I needed in that moment. And, you know, we landed our first $500,000 job down at Sanibel Island. And then, you know, shortly after that, I went and took that contract back to everybody else that I had been reaching out to. We landed a $2.6 million project in Albany, Georgia, a $500,000 job in Washington, D.C., an $800,000 job at Tyndall Air Force Base, where we're doing these little shelters off the side of the runway, and then an $800,000 roof replacement job for the USDA down in Gainesville, Florida, man. And we haven't looked back since. $240 million worth of contracts later.
That's crazy. One of the things I loved about your story that you were telling when you were talking was when you were doing that I-4 job, how you were literally living in the office. And that's like, I think sometimes, especially now in the age that we live in, people kind of skip over the hard stuff. Everybody wants to tell, oh, I make all this money. Yep, it's great. It's the best thing in the world. And nobody wants to talk about the sacrifice.
Yeah.
But for you to be transparent and talk to us about that sacrifice, how is it for you now looking back on that? What feelings do you when you look back and think, yeah, no, I actually lived in my office to get through?
Yeah.
Like, what was that like?
Yeah. Yeah, those are the dog days, man. Like, no one can ever take those days away from me, though. I mean, you know what I mean? Those are the days where I got the strength now to handle what I can handle, right? Those are the days where it's like, because I didn't know if I was gonna make it or not. Like, you know what I mean? I didn't know. Like, I had the faith. I had some belief because I was taking action, but I didn't really know if I was gonna get there. But it just shows that you put the work in, you find the right opportunity, and you hustle. And I hustle, right? Like I know how to, scrap because of that, right? Like you being $500,000 in the hole, like, and I owe people money. Like this wasn't like, student loan debt where you call and you say, hey, I want to defer it for 6 months. No, this was Caterpillar. They were sending me lawsuit notices, and so I had to learn to get on the phone. I was shy. I was, a quiet kid, now I got to get on the phone and tell these people, I owe you money. I know I owe you money. I'm going to pay you that money. I just need time. Just give me some time. Please give me some time. And I had to get on the phone, and I had to, I had to be confident enough to say that. But then at the same time, I was a big boy to get myself in that hot water. I got to be a big boy to get myself out.
I love that.
And then we boogied, and we started getting the projects. So yeah, I love those times. And I love thinking back on those times because it makes me grateful for where I'm currently at, right? And the person that I've become to be able to even execute and run the plays that we're running today.
So right now, you guys are, doing amazing. 8 figures, 9 figures. What for you really has changed, or has it changed? Do you still look at the game the same? Like, do you still get up every day and it's like you doing 80, 90, $100 million the same way you was doing when you was doing 800, 900,000?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, has it changed much? Because that's the one thing that some of the people were saying there. They're like, man, it seemed like he's still hungry.
Yeah.
Like he just still. I'm like, it be like that.
Yeah.
So for you, is it really? Do you still have that same hunger?
Yeah. And now it's not just the hunger for me, right? It's the hunger for my team to win. You know what I mean? It's the hunger for us, for the impact that I want to have on the world, right? Like, okay, we got 70 team members now, and like, every one of those team members are looking for Oliver to make a good decision. Like, when I wake up in the morning, I'm not like, oh, I just want to like chill and hang out. Like, no, that wakes me up. Like, man, I got people that are looking at me and relying on me to make good decisions. Now, are you gonna follow the good decisions, or are you gonna make bad decisions? And no, like for me, I want to make the good decisions, right? And then it's like, next thing you know, they're getting better, and now they're getting results, and then it's just like it just spirals so quickly, right? Like, it wasn't long ago that we were just doing $10 million a year. Like, it's like 3 years ago. Like, it's not, but like now we got great teamers that are coming in and adding value and doing their thing, and now they're winning, and now it's like, it's not about me anymore. Even coming here and being at the event, it's not about me. Like, I even said it to myself, like before I got up, I get a little bit of willies. Yeah, I got a little bit, but I said, Oliver, you're being selfish right now. It's not about you. Go out there and perform. Like, it's not, you're just a conduit. You got the information, let the information come through. Did I perform, yes or no?
Yeah, you did amazing. You killed it.
Yeah. So
I love, not because I love what you said about being a conduit. I had a mentor in real estate, like in 2004, 2005 when I started, and it's crazy that I looked at him like a mentor, but we was kind of like the same age, but in wisdom, he seemed so much older. And he would tell me all the time, he would say, it's not your money, it's the world's money. And it taught me a valuable principle. And it's like what you're saying, it's about being a conduit for that's what we are. We're just a conduit for everything, for the information, for the finance. It flows through us. And for you to be able to recognize that and use that as your strength almost.
Yeah.
And like, I got to get up and do this because it's bigger than me.
Yeah.
Like, that's dope. When did you kind of really like realize that? How long ago was that when you were like, you know what? It is bigger than me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was honestly like when I had my daughter, right? Like, because, up until having my daughter, it was me and another project manager. It was like my mentor, right? But like, I processed all his submittals. I processed all his RFIs. I mean, I was working 20 hours a day. Like, I was doing all the estimates going out the door. I was doing all the project management. I didn't even have a real bookkeeper. Like, I was doing all the finance. Everything was running through me. And I was like, man, like I saw my dad wasn't really around as a kid growing up in terms of like, being there and, like having dinner and getting your kids ready for school in the morning and being in the grind in that, right? And I wanted to do that. So I was like, I got to put great people around me. And when you put great people around you, now it's like great people don't want to work for a crappy business owner, right? And they want to work for a great business owner. In order to be a great business owner, you gotta help them hit their targets and their wants in their life, right? So what does that mean? Well, my wants got to be bigger because now their wants got to fit under my wants, right? Right. So that's when I really started getting it. And it's like, man, it's just like all the greats always say, you help people get what they want in life, you'll have everything you want in life, right? And that's when it was like, oh, that's the game. You know, I'm not, and it's the same game that was like, I started in this company with, right? I was $500,000 in the hole. I was hustling and scrapping and clawing to get the company going, right? And the first job we got, I wasn't even the first one to take a paycheck. I had to pay my superintendent. You know how crazy that is? But I had to pay my superintendent to then get what I wanted, right? So it's just like, it just goes back to principle number one. Like, you gotta find people, great people, align them to the target, but you also gotta help them get what they want, and then everything else, you'll get what you want when it's all said and done.
Wow, that's powerful. Because I think when I talk to a lot of my students and just peers, and everybody's trying to figure it out, they're like, how am I gonna get to the next level? And I tell them all the time, you gotta figure out how to put people around you. You can't get to the next level without somebody.
Yeah.
You said it today when you were speaking too, talking about how all the greats had coaches. Mm-hmm. Jordan, Kobe, that they all had somebody, and they surrounded them. They were smart enough to surround themselves around the right people that can help them get to that next level. Yeah. What's the next level for, two-part question. So what's the next level for Oliver as a man, and the next level for McKenzie Construction as a company?
Yeah, so I mean, you know, that's a complex question because
I need to know
because it always changes, right? Like, the goal in the beginning was to have a $10 million company, you know, and the reason why that was the goal is I got in an argument with my dad as a kid, young boy growing up. He's like, man, you'll never be able to do what I've done, right? And what he'd done up to that point was have a $10 million business. So I was my target, man. I wanted that like fire, man. I wanted to have a $10 million business, and I swear to you, I thought it would take a lifetime to get there. A lifetime. And then I hit it in 2 years. So I was kind of lost a little bit, you know what I mean? I was lost. It was like, what's the rest of my life gonna look like? You know what I mean? What's the rest of my life gonna look like? And you probably went through something similar to that when I saw that look in your face when you got that 8-figure exit, right? So one of the things that I learned when I was lost is that you got to reset the target. So that's when I reset the target to $100 million. I reinvigorated myself, right? Reinvigorated me, right? And then that's why we getting close to the $100 million target. I just, on my team call the other day, we just relaunched a new target, right? It's $1 billion, right? And we do this in all areas of my life, even now on the social media side. We're like, all right, we're getting a little bit of traction. My guy Mike was like, hey man, we got 1 million views in a month. Like, yeah, excited. And we are excited about that. Yeah. I say, Big Mike, how are we gonna get to 10? Yeah. How are we gonna get? Because we got it. We can't get drunk off the excitement, right? And that's your people. I don't even know that they said that, but your people are like, man, he's still hungry. Well, that's why, because I'm resetting the target. I'm not getting complacent with the target. Because nobody can ever stay in one spot. A boat never stays in one spot, right? So it's either you're going up or you're going down. Like, there's no one spot. So I'd rather be going up than trying to stay in one spot, right?
Man, that's a bar in itself, though. Yeah. That's crazy. One last question before we start the wrap is, so I titled the podcast Winners Win. Mm-hmm. The reason I titled the podcast Winners Win is, throughout my life, I tell people all the time, I've lived like 4 lives in one life, right? But one thing that I found to be consistent is I've always attracted myself around certain people, right? Whether it be through sports, business, everything, and it's winners. And one thing I've learned is that winners have 2 things in common. They have a mentality where they don't know how to quit, but then they also have a moment where they realize that they don't have a choice but to win. So in your life, what do you feel like that moment was where you were like, oh, I ain't got no choice, or we gonna win? Mm-hmm. What was that one moment for you where it was just like, it's this or nothing, and it's gonna be this?
Yeah. I never really told anybody this, but when I was my mom ended up dying from cancer, and I remember my sister was in the Peace Corps, so she was over in Africa. She's my older sister, she like by 1 year, right? And we picked her up to go see her in hospice. And so she was in the car with me, and I was like, man, I was looking at her like, Mom's gonna die, man. Mom's gonna die. And then, you know, she, like, I looked at her, and I just didn't see anything back. And I was like, man, no one's gonna save me, man. No one's gonna save me. No one's gonna save my family. No one's gonna do it. but I got to do it, right? And I just took full ownership for that. And I said that then, but I still had all those failures. I had $500,000 in the hole, and I'm telling her, I'm going to be the guy that saves my family. Now I got my family in even more problems and more pain. And I'm like, man. So like, and I was going through it, man. Like, you know, is it even worth living? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, and I got connected with this guy, you know, Les Brown is still on the YouTube, right? And he was, man, if you can look up, you can get up. He's talking about all the things that he went through. And I was like, man, yo, you right, man. You can look up, I can get up. And I'm looking up. He's like, I'm not, it's not over. He's telling me about a chess game that he's playing with his son. And his son was like, it's not over until I win. And I started saying, hey, I'm $500,000 in the hole. It's not over until I win. It's not over until I win. So I'm going making these calls and people are hanging up on me. I didn't even know how to cold call people, but I figured it out. You know, I figured it out quick. Yes, I said it so many times wrong that I finally figured out how to say it right. And I was like, man, it's not over until I win. I said, he was saying like, keep failing forward, keep failing forward. And I kept failing forward. I still made a couple mistakes, right? And I still making mistakes to this day, right? But I just keep failing forward. And the next thing you know, I got that one victory. And I was like, man, okay, I see it. I know how to do it now. And then it was just, I didn't get distracted. And like, that's the thing right there is honestly, I needed that in my life, that pain, because that thing got me focused, man. And like, your people are noticing it now, like, hey man, that guy's still hungry. But like, it removed all of the noise that was around me. Like I had to disassociate with friends and family and just everybody. It was just pure focus. I gotta figure a way out of here. Right. And I just focused in, I locked in and I still even tap into that even to this day. And like, no one can take that away from me. No one. Like nobody knows how to boogie like that. But I learned how to boogie like that because I was in that fire. You know, I was in that frying pan. You know, so you asked me, when was that moment? Well, that was that moment. I looked my sister in her eye and, you know, she was doing the best she could, but she couldn't get my family to where we needed to be. And I knew I needed to do it, right?
That's everything right there, bro. I appreciate you for even sharing that, dog.
Yeah.
But the reason why I say it is like, when people watch my pod and I had these conversations with entrepreneurs like yourself, I promise you, dog, it's crazy, but everybody, we all got that same similar story. And the reason why I wanted to start bringing it to light, because there's somebody out there that was just like us in that moment, and they feel just like you, like, I can't do it, I can't. And so it's like to hear when I tell my story, when you tell your story, when I have all these other people tell us, and they be like, oh shit, nah, if Oliver could do it, I could do it. Because then they start to feel that, you know what? Oliver couldn't let his family down, I can't let my family down.
Yeah.
And that's at this point in my life, at 44, turning 45 this year, that's all I want to do. Something you said, I want to try to leave my mark on the world. I want to try to just share my little 2 cents and try to help somebody get to that next level, man.
Yeah.
So first off, I appreciate you for pulling up on us in Scottsdale. Big Mike, appreciate you for pulling up. Y'all boys, man, y'all know how much this means to me. You know what I'm saying? To have y'all just come kick it with us for this weekend, man. So I truly, from the bottom of my heart, I appreciate you. I appreciate you for sharing your story. I know it's gonna have an impact, and man, my words to you is just keep going. Yeah. Don't stop. Yeah. You give me the motivation to where I ain't gonna stop. Because I know if I look over, I know you ain't stopping.
Let's go, baby.
So I gotta tighten up, because I know Oliver out there getting it right now.
And we're gonna boogie together, man. We're gonna do some business together, man.
That's what it's all about, man. So my brother, I appreciate you. And I appreciate each and every one of you for turning into another episode of Winners Win. I'll see you next time. Peace.